Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. Yesterday, I was telling you that I believe that Elihu, in chapter 32, it's a young prophet that comes up and makes himself known and says that he's come to represent God and to hear Job's side of things. And he's basically an answer to Job's request that he made in chapter 31, asking for God to hear him in the courtroom. Now, I did say that I thought that this man was the one who recorded accurately the events and the conversations that went on. I don't have a problem in believing that possibly Moses carried this book forward and could have even added God's perspective to everything. But I do believe, because Elihu spoke in first person about the events that happened, that he probably was the one that recorded the events. Now, as I ended yesterday, I told you that I was going to talk about Job's friends. Well, let's talk about that today, okay? Now, Job's wife tells Job to curse God and die. Boy, that's a tough one right there. Today's teaching is not going to be fun for me. Did you know I have heard spouses basically tell their spouses that who are sick. They're sick and they're like, well, just curse God and die. I mean, we're still doing that, guys. I'll expose a little bit about who I am and what I do sometimes. I go to hospitals and to people's homes and different places, and I pray for people. And I've seen miracles and healings, but what I also see is the other side of things, where our wrong beliefs and what we don't understand about God playing into things. And instead of a spouse coming together or a family member coming together strong to beat illness or sickness and hold fast to their faith, they begin this same course that I see in the book of Job with Job's wife. And they'll say things like, well, just give up and die, or God don't want you to live, and just all kinds of wrong beliefs that we've been taught. And it's very painful to get to see families so fractured when I go around and pray for people. Now, let me keep going. So the next thing I want to talk about is Job's friends. Job's friends started out pretty good. For 7 days, 7 days they sat quietly doing nothing but just sitting with Job. I'm going to say this one more time too in one of my other Bible teaching snippets. I told you if you don't know what to say to a hurting person, whether it's a sick person, whether it's a person that just lost someone in their lives that's near and dear to them, sometimes just being quiet is a really, really good thing. You know, empty space and quiet scares us sometimes, and it makes us uncomfortable. But in a time where a person's in a lot of pain and hurting, the very best thing you can do is sit quietly, hold their hand, don't give them your opinion, just let them work through things in their own mind, and just sit there where they're not alone. That is sometimes the very best thing that you can do for a person. I want to talk about Job's friends, though, because after 7 days, they start talking, and then they go from talking to accusing, and this guy is sick. His body is riddled with sores and everything, and all they can do is accuse Job of being responsible for the things that's come into his life. Does that sound familiar? See, I hear that all the time. When you get around people who are sick and suffering and you're praying for them, you'd be amazed at the things that you'll hear. I hear people say all the time, well, you know, that happened to them because they sin. You know what? If that's true, every person on this planet would be sick or be hurt or something going on bad in their lives, because if God was giving us fair wages for all of the stuff that we do, even the very best of all people would have bad things going on in their lives all the time, because guys, we're just not always that great. Let me keep going. So we see in chapter 4 that Eliphaz tells Job that innocent people don't suffer. So he must be wrong in some way for him to be suffering so bad, because he's not innocent. So he starts accusing his friend, And then of course we see where Job answers him, but we keep going. And then Bildad starts talking about that God rewards people for the good that they do. And that basically he's saying that God is rewarding Job for the bad things he's done, and that Job's not nearly as good as Job and as people think Job is. Now, Job is a really great guy. If you read this, it talks about all the good things he's done for children and widows and people. But this guy's saying, well, you're hiding something because you're really not that good. So then Job replies to Bildad, and then we see yet Zophar, his other friend, he just comes straight out and tells Job he's a sinner and that he's living in sin and that's why he's sick. Guys, here we go again. These things right here that I've just talked about is real life for us right now under a new covenant. A new covenant. God is not punishing us for all the bad we've done. He's not getting even with us. He's not putting suffering on us and all of that. See, all of these are opinions of people who do not know what's going on with Satan, and they don't really know God. And actually, Elihu, that young prophet I talked about yesterday, he tells them they don't know God. So I'm going to keep rolling on this just a little bit more because I want to help you understand where we get a lot of our wrong beliefs about God and how God treats us. Guys, we're under the new covenant. We're under a covenant of goodness and blessing through Jesus. God does not put sickness on people. He does not make people suffer and all of that crazy mess, okay? But today I'm going to end it right here, and I'll see you tomorrow on Facebook. Bye-bye.